You know, some days change history with a huge explosion, but others, they do it with a quiet little whisper that almost no one hears at first. Well, February 23rd, 2026 was one of those quiet, world-changing days for Japan. It was the day when three things that seemed totally unrelated, sports, politics, and pop culture, all started telling the exact same story.
And it all kicks off with this. A single line of dialogue that sent an absolute shockwave through one of the biggest fandoms on the planet. This quote? It comes from a brand new short film for the legendary anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's said by one of its most iconic characters, Asuka Langley Soryu. And what she's saying no to? Well, it's basically everything her fans have ever dreamed of.
Okay, so to get why this one sentence is such a big deal, we have to transport ourselves to the Yokohama Arena. It's the last day of Eva-Fes, this massive festival celebrating 30 years of an anime that wasn't just entertainment. This thing literally defined an entire generation's anxieties. And the grand finale was the world's premiere of a secret new film. And the scale of this premiere was just immense. I mean, we're talking about a gigantic LED screen with the series' original creator, Hideaki Anno, the guy himself, writing the script. The hype was absolutely through the roof. Thousands of fans were there, and they were expecting a gift, a final piece of fan service to thank them for 3 decades of love.
So, the film shows Asuka this vision of a perfect life. She marries her partner, Shinji, they have a kid, they live this happy, peaceful life. For millions of fans, this was it. This was the dream ending they'd waited 30 years for. And then, she looks that perfect life right in the face and rejects it. She calls it a fantasy and says she'll find happiness in her own messy, difficult reality instead. It's a victory for her pride, not an easy out. So you gotta be asking, why? Why deny this perfect ending? Just hold on to that question.
Because, and this is where it gets crazy, while all of that is going down inside the arena, something incredible was happening outside, all across Japan, on the very same day.
First up, I want you to remember this number, 24. On February 23rd, the Milano-Cortina Winter Olympics were wrapping up, and Japan came home with 24 medals. That's a new national record. They didn't just beat their old record of 18, they absolutely shattered it. It was this huge moment of athletic achievement and resilience.
Okay, now for our next number, 1. For the first time ever in its history, Japan has a female prime minister, Sanai Takaichi. And on this exact same day, fresh off a massive election win, she gave her first big policy speech, laying out a totally new, bold vision for the country's future.
And here's where it gets almost spooky. We are back to the number 24. In that very speech, Prime Minister Takaichi used the word investment 24 times. She was promising to invest in Japan's own strength, its own future, its own people. The number of medals won and the number of promises made for the future, they were identical. What are the odds? So let's just take a step back and look at this. You've got this perfect storm brewing. In sports, you've got this amazing story of rebirth from adversity, with the figure skaters pulling off a gold medal. In politics, you have a clear break from the past, a promise for bold new action. And even the emperor gave a birthday message about learning from past tragedies to guide the next generation, all on the same day.
So, are you thinking this is all just one big coincidence? I mean, come on, no way. So what's the secret? What's the hidden thread that ties an anime character, a bunch of Olympic athletes, and a brand new prime minister all together?
Okay, here it is. The answer is a concept that's like baked into the Japanese soul, Juritsu Takeisho. It translates to self-reliance and succession. It's this really powerful idea about standing on your own 2 feet while also carrying the lessons, the hard-won lessons of the people who came before you into the future. It's about choosing your own tough reality over some easy fantasy. Sounding a little familiar? And just look at how perfectly this idea explains everything that happened that day. You have Asuka choosing individual self-reliance over a fantasy. You have the Olympic athletes showing team self-reliance through struggle and hard work. You have the prime minister demanding national self-reliance through investment. And you have the emperor talking about the duty of succession, passing the lessons of the past on. It's the same idea, just echoing across every part of society. So, what does this all mean? This wasn't just a great day for Japan. This was something bigger. This felt like the symbolic end to a really long 30-year chapter. It was like the entire nation was graduating. And here's the absolute heart of it. For 30 years, the story of Evangelion, A story all about characters trying to escape their pain and finally find the will to live on their own terms, has been a mirror, perfectly reflecting Japan's own 30 lost years. That's the period of economic stagnation and deep soul-searching that started back in the 90s. The anime and the country, they were kind of struggling through it all, together.
So on that day, February 23rd, 2026, after 3 long decades, Asuka finally stands up and says, "I'm done with fantasy. I'll make my own happiness in reality." And just like that, Evangelion's core struggle, its story, was over.
Evangelion's story was over. But on that very same day, with its record-breaking wins and its bold new promises for the future, it really felt like Japan itself was saying the exact same thing. That the long-lost 30 years were finally done, and a new story was just beginning.
Which leaves us with this one last, pretty intense question. Asuka chose her tough reality over a perfect fantasy, right? It's super empowering. But let's be real, in our own lives, when the world feels this tough, is that always the right call? Or do we sometimes actually need those fantasies, that little bit of escapism, just to survive and keep going? I'd really love to know what you think down below.